Alright, hey YouTube, this is Angelo here, and I am suffering from a multitude of problems. My shoulder's killing me, and I think I might have something up with my throat, so this is a perfect time to talk patch notes, discuss the upcoming changes that are going to be going live on the public test build server. Let's see, where is it? It says it all the way at the bottom when it's going to be live. It's going to be September 29th, so we'll get to those pictures in a minute, by the way. But we are going to be looking at how they're going to be changing Pyramid Head, aka the Executioner. Nobody calls him that. And also how they're going to be changing perks. And also how they're going to be changing the Macmillan maps. So let's just go ahead and go right in. First things first is that the Executioner, Pyramid Head, is getting a change to his kit. They are going to be increasing the delay after canceling Rite of Judgments before Pyramid Head can attack, and decreasing the delay after attacking with Punishment of the Damned, which, if you don't know, that's his shockwave, where he can shoot a wave out that can hit people through walls or through pallets or anything. And the reasoning for this that they talk about is very similar, or it's very simple, I should say. Currently, the survivor has two choices if Pyramid Head makes a sword plant: vault the window, get hit with punishment, or continue running and get hit with a basic attack. So basically, you have no real option, and that's a problem that's been going on in the community for some time. That is a problem that many people have pointed out. It's very good that they're actually making this change. I agree with increasing the delay after canceling a rights, after picking up your sword before you can attack again. I'm not sure I agree with decreasing the delay after attacking. Maybe it's just me, but I feel like the delay after attacking is in line with some of the other killers that have similar attacks, such as Huntress and Demogorgon, as they point out here. I could be wrong. It could be longer than I think it is, but I feel that decreasing the delay maybe doesn't need to happen. We'll see it in action. We'll see how it goes. But I definitely agree with the first part. Not so hot on the second part, but I definitely agree with increasing the delay. Now for perk changes. We're going to be starting with the perks that were introduced in the Silent Hill chapter, because that's the one that they start with here in the patch notes, and we'll be going on from there. First is Trail of Torment. Currently, I believe it makes you undetectable for 16 seconds after kicking a generator. Generator is revealed in yellow to all survivors and you, and it has a cooldown of, I believe, 30 seconds. I could be completely wrong on these numbers, but the new one is going to be active until the marked generator stops regressing, so until a survivor comes up and taps it, or until a survivor is put into the dying state by any means. So I'm going to assume gen grabs, grab out a locker, just smacking the dude, whatever. I kind of like this, actually. I kind of appreciate this. This means that when Trail of Torment activates, when the killer activates it, both sides suddenly have an objective. They kind of have a side objective, you could say. Or at the very least, the survivors are suddenly given this side objective that they have to do, or the killer is going to be a lot more dangerous because you will never hear them coming. I'm not sure if it's going to be great on Pyramid Head himself. Trail of Torment doesn't feel like it's very great on him because the aforementioned Pyramid Head is kind of massive and gigantic, and I can see it coming from a mile away. But I feel that this could create a very interesting dynamic if used properly. Say you're on Azeroth, say you're on Gas Heaven, one of the generators in the middle of the map that's in a wide open area. There's only like waist-high debris around to really hide you. Imagine that one gets kicked by Trail of Torment. Now the survivors have to break off from whatever they're doing and very heavily expose themselves in order to remove this advantage the killer has. It also has potential now to be used as kind of a pseudo-tracking perk, because when you're undetectable as the killer, you have the status icon. Once it clicks off, okay, someone's on the gen I just kicked, or they just ran up and tapped it. If I'm close enough, maybe I can get into a chase with them, take them out, that kind of thing. And the killer now also has a real sense of whether or not this perk's giving them any value, because if they are able to down a survivor while it's active, then they feel, aha, I got use out of my perk, I put someone in the dying state, my undetectable is over, but I got someone down out of it, I have gotten use out of this. So yeah, I think it has a potential for interesting dynamics. I'm not sure if it's going to be used at all with the current meta of Ruin, Undying, Tinkerer, use it on every killer all day, every day, but I have a feeling that it could be used in quite a few cheeky stealth killer builds, and I'm actually kind of excited to use it myself. So I like the Chiller of Torment changes. I think it could be very fun, and I like fun. So there we go. Forced Penance. Duration seems to be low to the developers, so they are increasing the duration of the broken effect by 20 seconds across all tiers. If you are unaware, Forced Penance is when a survivor takes a protection hit, they are broken for a duration, which means they cannot be healed. This can happen if you're in a chase with an injured survivor and someone else jumps in, or you manage to hit someone who's trying to body block you from getting to the hook, or they're trying to heal someone who's dying, I believe. That actually may not work as far as protection hits go. Protection hits may also apply if they're trying to unhook a survivor. It has very useful combinations with Mad Grit, because Mad Grit means that you can just attack forever while you're carrying a survivor, and if you're carrying a survivor, then yes, any hits you get are considered protection hits for the survivors. I'm not sure I really care. Forced Penance is a very niche situation that, as a killer, I have never really had to worry about myself. Typically, hooks are close enough that even if someone attempts to body block, I still got plenty of time to get them to the hook and put them on it. So I'm not entirely sure. I'm not convinced that increasing the duration makes it any more useful than it already was. It's already fairly niche, as were all of Pyramid Head's perks, but you know what? We'll see. I'm just kind of cold on this one because I never used it, so whatever, I guess. Blood Pact. Blood Pact is an obsession perk. It decreases the chances of you being the obsession if you have it, and it allows you to see both you and the obsession can see each other as long as one is injured. And if you or the obsession heals the other, either the obsession heals the person with this perk or the person with this perk heals the obsession, either way, you get a 7% haste boost for a few seconds. But they are changing it so that the haste effect no longer has duration and instead lasts until you are more than 16 meters away from each other, which is not that much of a distance, but it is kind of nice to see how Blood Pact is kind of being almost a counter to Pyramid Head's Deathbound, which makes you oblivious if you heal someone else and you get away from them, like if you move away from them. Blood Pact I used more as information, as being able to see where the obsession is, but this kind of feels like this could be very, very interesting if you and a friend can get on good comms with each other and kind of force your friend to be the obsession, because Blood Pact has no effect if you are the obsession. But if you can force your friend to be the obsession that you're on Discord with like Decisive Strike or Metal of Man or something like that. Actually, does Metal of Man? I don't even think Metal of Man makes you the obsession, but you know what I'm trying to get at. If you can sucker someone into being the obsession, then you guys can kind of run around with permanent haste, which could be kind of cheeky, but I use Blood Pact more for the information and being able to see where the obsession is. It's kind of a bargain basement empathy, where it only affects one person, but that range is infinite. But then again, I've been told that apparently empathy level 3 is basically infinite anyway, so I don't know. The fact that haste will be permanent as long as you stick together, pretty nice. It allows you to maybe get back to generators faster and all that fun stuff, so very useful. I like it. I may not use it very much, but I like it. Other perk changes. We have Any Means Necessary. The cooldown is being reduced to 60 seconds, and a score event is added for resetting a pallet. So I don't know what the cooldown currently is. I want to say it's something stupid like 2 minutes at the moment. And Any Means Necessary, if you're unaware, it is a perk from Yui, and it allows you to basically pick up and put a pallet back into the upright and ready position. I believe while you are picking up the pallet, the killer cannot kick it. At least that's what I remember from watching Scott Jun trying to make this thing work. And apparently you're also going to get a score event from resetting the pallet, so hey, extra blood points are nice. Anything that gets extra blood points is great, in my opinion, especially for survivors. Survivors have trouble getting lots of blood points, so I will take this. I will take whatever I can get. I don't have Yui, so I've never used the perk. It'll be interesting to see. I wonder if you can like pick it up and then like pick it up and then just fucking stun the killer again if you get a killer stun off. Might work. I don't know. So we'll have to see. Cruel limits. Increased radius to 32 meters from 24 meters. There were concerns with it being overbearing when the perk first launched, but it turned out to be a non-issue. We are increasing the range. Cruel limits, I believe, when a generator is completed, it blocks all windows and maybe pallets. I don't think it blocks pallets, but I think it blocks windows within that radius. So it does allow you to, if you're close to the generator that gets completed, it does allow you to, get the survivors and prevent them from really being able to escape. But I don't know. Cruel limits, I don't feel like increasing the radius is really going to do much for cruel limits. I never see it being used, not even on Demogorgons anyway, which is where it comes from. So it's nice. It's nice to see it get buffed. It's nice to see it see Demo get some love, but I'm not sure. I don't feel like it's going to really help. For the People, added a score event for using For the People. Alright, fair enough. I just said that I like survivors getting blood points, so yeah. For the People, I actually see used quite a bit. It allows you to instantly heal someone at the cost of becoming injured and broken yourself. And also becoming the obsession, so the killer gets this loud, I don't know how to explain it, it's like this loud string note that shows them that the obsession is moving. If they look down at the lower left, they can see the obsession changing. So it's not exactly a sneaky perk, you know when someone's used it, but at the same time, it's nice to also get some extra points for using it. So it sweetens the deal. It's already kind of useful, so it just kind of sweetens the deal there. Mindbreaker, increased duration of the exhausted effect. They're not giving me any numbers here, but currently it only lasts for like 3 seconds. Mindbreaker is a perk that makes survivors exhausted if the generator they are working on is less than 50% completed. Once it is 50% completed, it's like 3 seconds of exhaustion. The big issue with it is if the survivor is exhausted and starts working on a generator that hasn't been worked on, their exhausted meter does not go down. The cooldown does not apply. They stay at whatever exhaustion they are, and they do not get any cooldown from it. It's getting a little bit of extra duration for when, if you happen to come across them, like let's say they're pocketing Sprint Burst or Dead Hard or something. Now, if you come across them and the generator is not 50% complete, they won't get the chance to use it. So, and they're going to be giving it more time, more than just the 3 seconds that it had before, which is pretty good. So, very nice. Probably not going to see it used. I've seen it used a few times. I've had it dropped on me a few times, but I don't see it very often. It's a very rare and niche perk to come across, but could be useful for those fucking Sprint Burst gamers. Slippery Meat. Removed bear trap escape chance, added an increased chance to self-unhook. Slippery Meat has found its way to some niche builds, but it is one of the few perks from back in the day that affects one killer more than others, in this case the Trapper, because it mentions the bear traps. This is something we've moved away from recently, so we'll be removing the increased bear trap escape chance from this perk, but to better fit this niche playstyle, it will now increase your chance to self-unhook, in addition to giving you more self-unhook attempts, which it already does. Currently it has like an extra 20 or something % chance to escape bear traps, and it gives you 3 more unhook attempts if you have rank 3. The bear trap chance is going to be going away, but it's going to give you a higher chance of self-unhooking. Not going to be as good as Deliverance, but Deliverance has some conditions before it applies, so this is just going to be all around increased chance of getting out. So maybe, you know what, maybe luck suddenly matters now. Thanatophobia, removed heal speed penalty, but increased penalty on other actions. It was meant to encourage survivors to heal in order to avoid the penalty from the perk, but since it reduces healing speed at will, it creates a lose-lose situations no matter what you do. This prevents us from making the perk stronger, as it would quickly get overbearing. To address this, we are removing the reduced healing speed from the perk, but increasing the action speed penalty to compensate. Okay, I usually healed with Thanatophobia in play anyway, just because healing is generally a good thing. Now that the healing speed penalty is not applied, great, I'll take more of it. Oh, I gotta stay hydrated. Oh, boy. I mentioned I'm having throat issues. But yeah, I feel like Thanatophobia, not having a heal speed penalty will, hopefully encourage more people to heal. Now I just have to convince survivors to heal when we're playing against fucking Oni. I swear to God, people forget the heal action exists when Oni's in play. Even more so if he's running Thanatophobia. We're Gonna Live Forever added new ways to get tokens, added increased healing speeds when healing a dying survivor. It is often seen as the survivor equivalent to barbecue and chili, but lacking a secondary like the letters are revealing. It could also cause survivors to compete for unhooks, leaving people rushing in for hook saves before it's safe. By adding extra ways to get tokens, we hope to reduce the competition between survivors. The secondary effect gives the perk more use within the trial. Here's why it's not the survivor equivalent to barbecue and chili. It already mentions the fact that there is a limited number of unhooks, which is one of the safe unhooks are one of the ways to get tokens. We're Gonna Live Forever in its current state gives you a token whenever you take a protection hit or perform a safe unhook, which means that the survivor does not go back down within 10 seconds of being unhooked. Here's the problem, and here's why it's not barbecue and chili. Barbecue and chili gives a token every time the killer hooks a survivor for the first time in a match. Now, to point out exactly what's going on here, these are not the same because the killer is going to be hooking people in the normal course of play. He's not just going to be leaving everybody slugged and letting them bleed out. He's going to be hooking people. Getting protection hits and getting safe unhooks is something that a survivor has to go out of their way for. Now, granted, there's not many other ways. There's not many ways to forcibly give people tokens without kind of forcing them to go out of their way, I guess. So I do understand why they have to make it like this. I just have to say that, you know, they are not as similar as you might think they are. Granted, they do have the same primary effect of giving you extra blood points if you get the tokens. So, hey, that's great. I don't know exactly what the extra ways of getting tokens are. However, I've been told that flashlight saves are one of them. And I've also been told that, well, I haven't been told, but I'm hoping that healing people from the dying state would be a way of getting tokens, making this potentially kind of an anti-slugging perk, especially because you get that and I'm assuming this because you're getting the increased healing speed as part of the secondary. So I have a feeling that that picking people up from the dying state is probably going to be a way to get tokens. In which case, if it is, awesome. All for it. Perfect. Great. I obviously wouldn't want tokens when you're just healing people because that's too easy. We're Gonna Live Forever is a David King perk, and David King's perks reward an aggressive confrontational playstyle. So it feels like, you know, picking someone up from the dying state, it's a risky play. It deserves to be in this, so I like it. I like the changes. I want more ways of getting tokens. I want more ways of getting blood points. Survivors have problems getting blood points. I mentioned that in my video, the Survivor Blood Point Grind. It's in my videos. You can go watch it. But yeah, this will help out. This will probably help out a lot. Technician, increase the chance to prevent an explosion to 100%, added an increased penalty to miss skill checks. It's a perk to help newer players who struggle with skill checks. There's a random aspect to it as whether or not the generator explosion will be prevented. So currently, Technician at the highest level, it reduces the noise of your repairs by like 8 meters or so, and it also reduces the chance of causing a generator explosion if you miss a skill check by 50%. If you fail a skill check on a generator, it regresses by 10%, which is about 8 seconds of work. I don't know what the increased penalty is going to be, but I do like the idea that they want this to be more of a beginner. Use this, you know, if you're still learning, if you're having trouble hitting the skill checks, fine, great, I like it. This feels like they're trying to make it where it's like, yes, you know, you don't have the sound if you fail the skill check, but you have to do more work to compensate. So, okay. Pop Goes the Weasel. Decrease the time the perk stays activated to 45 seconds. It's currently 60 seconds, where if you manage to kick a generator in that 60 seconds after you hook a survivor, it regresses by 25%, which is 20 seconds of work because it takes 80 seconds to repair a gen. 25% of that is 20. Originally, it had a 30-second cooldown, which felt too short to get much use out of. We later increased this to 60 seconds. This felt better to use, but it wound up being a little too lenient and allowed a killer to find a kick generator at their leisure. To add some urgency, we're changing it back to 45 seconds at Tier 3. Already, people are kind of debating between like this and Decisive Strike. I'm not even going to get into that. I don't feel like discussing like the differences between Pop Goes the Weasel and Decisive Strike. Not in my current state, but 45 seconds is not as much time as you think it is in a game of Dead by Daylight. So I feel that this, it's a pretty potent nerf, I think. I think it could cause a lot of problems. One of the biggest issues I have with Pop, though, is especially there's been many a time where you'll get to a generator right as the timer's about to run out and start kicking it, but then the timer will expire as you're kicking it. So I feel that, like, a better change would be to... a more helpful change would be to, like, pause the timer when you're actually kicking the gen. Like, if you manage to get there and start the kick action with it up, you should get the pop effect, but that's neither here nor there. 45 seconds is not a lot of time. Typically, the generators that you want to kick are going to be far away from you. If you have no mobility ability, then no mobility ability. That rhymed. But if you're not Freddy, Demogorgon, maybe Hag, maybe Hillbilly, well, definitely Hillbilly, Blight. If you're not one of the ones that are super focused around mobility, then you're not getting use out of this perk, I don't think. I think this nerf is probably going to kill it. I don't think it's going to kill Pop Goes the Weasel. I think it's still going to be used, actually. It's probably still going to be used a lot. But I have a feeling it's going to be used a lot less. So, and finally, some quality of life changes. We're out of balance changes, which I have barely any idea of because I haven't been playing this game for years. But basically, at this point, they're changing it so that the level of the perk is going to be its rarity. Level 1 perks will be uncommon. Level 2 is going to be rare. Level 3 is going to be very rare. And this is going to be across the board. This will be helpful. It's going to be help you find perks that you want to use. Very good. I like it. Go with it. Can you just do it? Just put it in right now. I'll take it right now. I'd like it. Just do it, please. Pretty please. Finally, they're going to be updating Macmillan Estate. Looks like this is the upstairs of Ironworks of Misery, which I don't often go to because I don't like running up there. This is the outside of Suffocation Pit. This is the inside, I believe, of Ironworks of Misery. And this, I don't recognize this. I want to say Groaning Storehouse, maybe. But the concept art, these early shots look pretty fucking cool. It's a little less blue on the inside of these buildings than I would like. I kind of like the blue color palette for Macmillan Estates. I personally just really like the color blue. It's my favorite color. But the outside seems like it's going to be keeping its blue color palette, though. And I fucking... this shot in particular, I just fucking love. Like, this is an amazing image, and I would use it for, like, a tabletop RPG. This is like D&D quality. Like, I would love to send a party of adventurers here and just have them see what's down below here. Yeah, I appreciate it. I really hope that it's just a graphics update because the Macmillan Estate maps are, quite honestly, probably some of the best designed in the game. They were the first, and they are some of the best. The only one I really don't like is Sheltered Woods, personally, but that's because it's the one Macmillan map that doesn't have a main building on it, so it just kind of feels meh to me. The rest of them have a lot more character, in my opinion, because of the main building being there, but aside from Sheltered Woods, I love the Macmillan maps, so I really hope this is just a graphical update to make them look even better, make them look really cool. They're probably going to add breakable walls, but I hope they add them in smart places that enhance and can help make I want the breakable walls to make areas less safe for survivors. That's how I want breakable walls to be, where the killer can run around and break them in order to make places less safe. I don't want breakable walls that make things more dangerous. Like the current breakable walls in Badham Preschool, not breaking them makes it a lot harder for survivors to get in and out of the school building, because they kind of have the breakable walls on the left and right. There's the only open entrances at the start of the game is in front, in the parking lot, and in the back where where all the hedges are. And the left and the right are blocked off. I don't want breakable walls like that. I don't want breakable walls that make the map less safe if the killer does nothing, because the survivors cannot interact with breakable walls in any way at current time. And if the killer gets smart and realizes, hey, these breakable walls, if I don't break them, make things a lot easier for me, like I have, then all of a sudden the map is a lot more killer-sided, and it's a lot less friendly to survivors. I prefer it when the game gets more dangerous for survivors as you get closer to the end. That's how I feel that the maps should be designed, where as much as I don't like the game, that's actually something that it really does well. Where I was just talking about graphics update, and now I've gone on this whole rant about map design, but on the game, when you complete generators, the walls open up, so the killer can now get around easier, can now see into other rooms easier, and the map becomes more and more dangerous for the survivors. That I like. That I love. Hawkins is the same way, actually. Although less so. It's only if the generators are next to those walls, I think. Actually, is Hawkins the same? I don't even remember if Hawkins is the same way. I remember a few generators like opening walls when they're completed. I like the game for that, and that's also why I like Dead Dog Saloon, because there is that extra breakable wall on Shaq that turns Shaq from a really safe loop into, oh god, what do I do now? I do like the breakable walls that were added to Yamaoka. I think they do a similar thing. And I hope if they do breakable walls on Macmillan that they do the same thing, where breaking them is an advantage to the killer, at least in some ways. Smart survivors can still play around with it. I like the graphics update. I just hope that they don't mess up with the breakable walls, because I know they're going to be adding them. They want breakable walls on every map. I think they've said that they want to do that. So we'll see. We'll see how breakable walls end up on this map. They don't show any in these screenshots, by the way. I've looked over them. I don't see any breakable walls. They're fairly distinctive. They look like palettes, or like the updated palettes, I should say. Or actually, no, yeah, they just look like palettes where they got like 3 different colors of wood on them. And I'm not seeing them. They're fairly distinctive, so we'll have to see how they actually apply. But I have been going for 30 minutes, and I need a fucking cough drop before my throat closes on me and chokes myself out. So debate in the comments and call me an idiot for not knowing how these perks work, because I haven't actually used, or I don't even own half of them. Yeah, call me an idiot. Say how much you like the new Macmillan stuff, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Later.